Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be discovering the Magic the Gathering top 10 Leech. Those wonderful creatures that suck the blood out of all these creatures. So we're going to start with the top 10. And now, at number 10. And at number 10, we have Andradite Leech from the Invasion series. And it's a rare. Invasion had that really weird time when they had 5 colors with the Leeches, and they're rare, and it's really ironic because it costs 3 mana for that 2/2, and your black spells cost 1 more to play, but you can pump it up for +1/+1 until end of turn. Again, like I said, during this invasion time, when the series is out, 5 colors, 5 Leeches, and they're all rare in the series. I only did 2, just so that it wouldn't be torturous to watch. So this is why it's at number 10, because it's not that good, but let's move on to number 9. At number 9, like I said, we're just going to do one more for that invasion series. It's Ruby Leech, and it's a rare. This is why this one is at number 9 to number 10 is because it costs 2 for a 2/2 first strike. Red spells you play cost 1 more to play. Again, like with every Leech in the series, everything says 1 more to play. But again, I think out of all the invasion Leeches, this is the best one that there is. Not that I like the picture, but the ability for the 2/2 first strike, 2/2. Wow, so fast. So pay 2 for that 2/2 first strike. Man, can you say that? And let's move on to number 8. And at number 8, we've finally done with that series, is Mana Leech from the Urza Saga series, and it is an uncommon. Costs 3 for that 1/1, so it says you may choose not to untap Mana Leech during your untap phase. It says tap target land. As long as Mana Leech remains tapped, that land does not untap during its controller phase. Which is really cool, because it's kind of like just stopping the person from playing mana. So if you have 3 of them in your hand, you keep doing that, and they can't untap their lands, you totally use it to your advantage, because you can untap your lands every turn. And this is why it's at 8, because it's a really cool ability. Again, the pictures aren't that cool. I guess it's Leeches, so they're not going to be that great. But again, for 3 mana, it's pretty expensive. But for Leeches, that's why it's at 8. So let's move on to number 7. And next we have Mana Skimmer from Time Spiral, and that common card, look at that little purple picture, is a Leech, and it costs 4 mana for that 2/2 and flying. It's ouch. It doesn't look good when I see that. And it says whenever it deals damage to a player, tap target land that player controls. That land does not untap during its control and next untap phase. So just like the other card, this one ability it just makes those lands just tap, tap, and tap. Even 2 of those can be actually really annoying to an opponent. That's why, like, 4 for that 2/2 flying. It's very. You just hope that they don't have flying creatures. Then that could be even more annoying. If you have 2, especially like I said, if you have 2 of them, just keep pumping those out. This is why it's at number 7. So let's move on to number 6. At number 6, we have Jorubai Murk Lurker from Core 2015, and it is uncommon. I really like the picture. That is definitely a picture of a Leech. And it costs 3 for that 1/3, so it's kind of like a wall, but it gets +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp. So basically, it's a 2/3, but it says target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. I'm like, I guess that's why it's here. It's better than the other ones, but it's not the best. So that's why I'm like, I guess I'll put it at number 6. That's the only reason why it's here is because it's not as good as it's going to get for some Leeches. So let's move on to number 5. And halfway down our list, at number 5, we have Abundant Maw from Eldritch Moon, and it is uncommon. Believe it or not, there's the most expensive and most powerful Leech out of all of them for when it comes to power base. Costs 8 for that 6/4, and has a merge, which it says 6 colors in black. And if you don't know what a merge is, it says you may cast a spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the merge cost reduced by that creature's converted mana cost. I don't know if it's worth paying it or not. That's very debatable. That's why I think Emerge is not that great of ability in the Magic world. But also it has, when you cast Abundant Maw, a target opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. That could be the stealer if your opponent has been destroyed basically to the end of this game. I guess you would have to make a black-white deck, or other colors, but generally it's 2 colors, to put that up and make him lose 3 life. It could be worth it. So let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we have Blitz Leech from Ikoria, Lair of the Behemoths, and it is a common. 6 mana for that 5/2 with flash. Makes me hurt just saying that, because 6 for that doesn't even have flying. It just has flash. I guess that could be good. And the reason why it's here is also because it says enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Remove all counters from that creature. because during this series there is a lot of creatures that have counters, so that is why it's could be very powerful common card, and it is a leech. So -2. Basically, when you put this out, it could possibly kill a creature with all those counters on it, giving it -2. The picture is really cool, and the saying is, "Fools wear armor against it as if it is the worst it could take is your blood." I don't know. When it comes to leeches, I think this is probably the best saying of all the leeches. Let's move on to number 3. At number 3, we have Land Leeches from the Dark, and it is a common. This is actually one of my favorite cards from the Dark series. I like the picture, and pretty much does a really cool leech picture. And it costs 3 for that 2/2 first strike. When it comes to leeches, this card is very good because it only costs 1 extra mana for that 2/2 first strike. Back then, this was really incredible. You just pay 1 more for that 2/2. Nowadays, that's 1 more mana that you have to pay for that first strike, and that's just too expensive. But again, I like the series from the Dark. This was my favorite card. First strike, 2/2. You just can't beat that simplicity of the card. So let's move on to number 2. At number 2, we have Squelching Leeches from Duel decks, Nissa versus Nixilis, and it is an uncommon. Costs 4 for this creature, and it says it is the power and toughness equal to the number of swamps you control. That's it. Put out 4. It could be a 4/4, 5/5. It just gets bigger and bigger every time if you keep pumping out the swaps. And even this saying is even better. It says setting foot in the muck is an open invitation. And you look at the picture, the body is just covered in leeches, and it makes sense because in real life, if you do that, you're gonna be covered in leeches. It's just like an open invitation. Anyway, I find that quite amusing myself. Again, this is why it's at number 2. This is actually very powerful, regardless of it not having trample, flying, or anything. And just you as many swamps as you want. That's why it's here at number 2, and it's really good. So let's move on to number 1, the best leech of them all. And out of all the leeches, Putrid Leech from Duel decks, Jace versus Vraska, and it is a common. And why it's here at number 1 is its ability. Costs 2 for a 2/2, which is great on itself. It says pay 2 life, and it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Activate this ability only once each turn. Again, this is very debatable. I don't know why. It was really hard for me to decide to put this at number 1. It's because, yes, you pay 2 life, but if you can somehow gain life and keep pumping this creature up with enchantments and gaining life 2/2, this guy can become a very powerful zombie leech. This is why it's at number 1. I think it's the best leech out of all the leeches. And if you like this video, I hope you will continue to watch more on my channel, and I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening.